Okay. I don't own the rights to this song. Just want to listen to about a minute of it. The song is by Victoria Ramsey. Don't own the rights to it. Just trying to get my spirits lifted up a little bit. Okay. Ooh. I put a heat pad on my back there. Trying to act up lately. First, what I want to do, I forgot to put this on there. This is what happened. Anyway, I'm going to try to do this in like 20-minute parts and do 3 of them, and then let whatever's going to be done, the Lord do it. I already see that the Lord is already moving and all over the world in different places because of his death. I know the funeral was today. That's probably why I'm feeling a little heaviness in my spirit. A little tiredness too. It's mixed a lot of things, but I don't want to waste time talking about that. So let me just read what come to me today, and say a little prayer and get on over to the message. Okay. The day is 9/21/2022. Just got through praying. At time was 12:16 noon. I was told to make sure I read Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 1-5 before I gave the messages that's tied to this. I was told not to overlook Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. Okay, that's what come to me as I was praying earlier today. So let me go and read Jeremiah chapter 5. Chapter 5, my sinus is bothering me. Chapter 5, verse 1 through 5. It says, "Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now, and know, and seek in broad places thereof, if you can find a man, if there be any that execute judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon it. And though they say the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. O Lord, are not thy eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return." That's verse 3. Verse 4. "Therefore I said, surely these are poor. They are foolish, for they know not the way of the Lord, nor the judgment of their God." Verse 5. "I will get me unto the great men, and will speak unto them, for they have known the way of the Lord, and the judgment of their God. But these have altogether broken the yoke and burst the bond." So God got me back reading this again, and he had me going to different churches, reading those first 5 verses in Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 1-12. This time just got me reading, telling me to read that. So I was told to read that each time I get this message. I didn't do it in the last message, so forgive me. I know he wants obedience if it's truly him speaking to me. And like I said, there's so much in here that just lines up and goes back to everything he's been telling me over the years. Like I said, I don't want to waste a whole lot of time talking. I was told to go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 6. So now that I got confirmation again and again, I think this is the third time about there being angels that deal in numbers, okay? I've had these encounters, okay? I don't know if that's the encounter that I'm having now with what I'm hearing and how it's being spoken to me. I don't know, but I know back in 2020, 2019, with no doubt, this angel that was appearing and coming to me had to do with numbers and secrets that had to do with that, okay? And hearing Troy Bryers take and talk about one of the angels that's mentioned in the Bible, but people not really knowing his name. I posted a video up under this where he talked about the angel, and he's talking about how this angel and maybe some other angels deal with nothing but numbers and counting things. You know, it helped me to understand better why, you know, certain things have been going on with me. Like I said, they know more than I do. You know, he understands the Hebrew and all that, and I'm not player hating. I'm glad to learn. You know, glad to learn, especially something that I love doing. You know, numbers was the only thing when I couldn't struggle reading and writing in school, was the only thing that I could somewhat be good at. Okay, and there was times when I struggled even with that. But anyway, make a long story short, let me get off into this message. I made a mistake with the 665 in Genesis chapter 4, verse 6. It's only in there 2 times. And before I get off in there, I want to apologize to that about Mother Moore. That when we get to the end of the video, I got real excited when I was pointing to the year that she was born, the date that she was born and all. I got super excited. I went all over to the video and stuff like that. It was just that to know and get confirmation in the ways that, hey, even though people mocking you and you fighting with people about certain stuff and people saying that ain't biblical and all that, you know, that you're getting confirmation in such a powerful way. Because, you know, my aunt will tell you my aunt told me that Mother Moore had passed and that she was 105 years old. My mind, just like that, went straight back then. If y'all watch any of these videos before then, I was already talking about Genesis chapter 4. I was already talking about Genesis chapter 4, and I was already talking about how men was being led back to start praising God, even before I knew that. Matter of fact, the video that I posted on the day she passed, I didn't even know she had passed on that day. The video I posted on the second, I was even talking about family and marriage, and I even mentioned Genesis chapter 4 in there about, you know, how they, Adam and Eve had another son. It was even talking about it then, and if y'all remember, I was telling y'all how the number 18 had been just in my spirit and my soul, and it's speaking to me. Y'all can go all the way back to July on this. Okay, so anyway, I said that the number 665 was in there, and the way that I led y'all to seeing the number 665 and then it making 17 was wrong. It's only in there 2 times. Okay, I got carried away with trying to do stuff off of my memory, and I just got so into it that, you know, and I know I'm having problems with my eyes too, so, and I ain't making no excuses, because when you're taking and you're doing something important like this and you're trying to get people to understand that God is speaking, you're supposed to take your time. Okay, and I got so hyped believing that I can just do it off my head. I'd have been here, I'd have did this, I can, you know what I mean? And you can't do that, especially with something this important, and I'm sorry. The mistake won't happen again. I'm gonna take my time, just like today. I'm gonna take my time, even if I don't get the chance to point out number 2 things. So I want to go to that verse, and I want to show y'all that, you know, the middle is 4 and not 5. I count the middle as being 5 words, but it's only 4 words that's in there. So I said I counted 6 words, and the Lord said unto Cain, 6, 2, 4, 6, and then I said, why art thou wroth? That's the middle, and that's 4 words and not 5. But the 5 still shows up in the middle. And then I went on to say that when you take and you do that 6 words first, then 5 words next, and then 6 words at the end, that's the number 656. No, not in that way. In the other way, yeah, that I'm getting ready to show y'all, yeah, but that was the wrong way because I rushed. And was going off of, because I knew that this right here ran all the way back to Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 1. I knew that. Okay, and while I was sitting there and it was getting ministered to, just sitting there, it got to telling me how I made a mistake with that. And it got to taking me back to, I end up taking that right there and trying to run with Ezekiel chapter 8 and then Genesis chapter 24, because that leads to that and to Ezekiel. I did a whole thing on that back in 2023 after I come back from covered by God, and I was speaking to it. I was already working on it, but I end up, if you go back and you watch those videos, I wish they were taking reposts back on Facebook. I got some of them, but not all of them. But you were seeing there how, if you listen to them, back in 2023, you know what I mean, and 2024, especially when I come back from that was covered by, because the October the 7th thing happened in 2023. Okay, so it was at the October 7th thing, and then I went down there to Houston. Also, it was in 2023 too. So the 2 different things happened during that time period. So anyway, the 646 takes you back to Genesis chapter 24. The 664 takes you back to Genesis chapter 24. And it shows how God was taking and keeping his word, what he has said in Genesis 3 and 15. Now, I'm getting ready to try to show y'all this. I got 13 minutes to do this one part. Don't put a time limit on it. Just take your time and do it right. Wow, okay. No, I felt that. Okay, anyway, here it is. We're in chapter 4, verse 6. And in here, we have the number, we have the 6th verse. Okay, we have the 6th verse. So you have 6, and then you have 6 again, because it's, and the Lord said unto Cain, that's 6 and 6. So you have 6 and 6 when you take and you do that. Okay. Now you have 6 and 6 there. Now when you take and you do the whole, help me out here, Lord. When you take and you do the whole with the letters, when you take and do the whole with the letters, you got, and the Lord said to Cain, 22 letters. Why art thou wroth, the middle, which is 15 letters, and why is thy countenance fallen, 28 letters. Those 28 letters adds up to 65. So here it is, you have the 65, okay? You have the 65 where it takes, and you have the 65 with the whole, so you go 65 with the verse. You have 65 with the verse. So 65 with the verse gives you 666, okay? Now, here it is, we're going to have, again, because it shows again in this way to give confirmation, but you want it to be solid. I can do it this way and show where you can get it again for the 3rd time, but you want it to be solid because you always want to lead back to the middle when you're doing this. So we took and we did that with the whole that includes the middle with the 65 letters in the whole and the verse. So that's 665. So you get 17 from out of that. Now you can go the first 6 words, and the Lord said unto Cain, that's 6 words, then 65 letters. You can get 665 out of that. But me personally, No, I want y'all to see how it always leads back to the middle and the whole. Okay, that wouldn't be wrong if I would did that. That can also be 3 times. Okay, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna take and do the whole and the middle. Now we take and do the whole in the middle. We need to pay attention to this. Okay, we need to pay attention. Now we already showed where 65 letters, and the first gives you 665. So that's 1. Now, here it is. We're getting ready to do it again, okay? You got 6 words in the beginning, and then you got the number 6 with the verse. So you got 6 and 6. So you got 6's. Where's the 5? The 5 will show up in the middle with the whole of the beginning, okay? So we already got the 6 and 6. 6 verse, first 6 words, leading to the middle, right? Chapter 4, verse 6 equals 10. 10 breaks down to 1. You got 1. We're moving towards the middle. Okay, and the Lord said unto Cain, 6 words, 22 letters. 6 and 22 is 28. 28 breaks down to 10, breaks down to 1. You got 2 ones. Now we're going to the middle. We're going to the middle. Why art thou wroth? 4 words, 16 letters. Okay? 4 words, 16 letters. 16 letters 4 words, slow up, don't make a minute. 4 words, 15 letters. 15 breaks down to 6. Okay? 4 and 6 again is 10 is 1. You can do it the other way too. 15 and 4 is 19, breaks down to 10. 10 breaks down to 1. You got 3 ones. So you got 3 ones, and then the middle is 2. 3 and 2 is 5. So you got 6, 6, 5. But you don't want to overlook this either. In here, you got the number 666 hollering. In here, you got the number 111 hollering. Where can you find both of this that connects to the 666? We know that's Satan and the triple ones in Genesis 3 and 15. If you go to Genesis 3 and 15, you got exactly 111 letters. Exactly. You got the 111. I just showed y'all the 111 in here, and right here where the 111 is, you can get the number 666. I'm finna show you. 6th verse, and the Lord said unto Cain, 6th word, why art thou wroth? 15 letters breaks down to 6. 6, 6, 6. Go to Genesis 3 and 15. When you get all the way down to the last part, where it say, and thou shalt bruise his heels. When you get there, that's 111 letters. That's triple ones. You had a 111 there. So this right here is showing the battle right there with Cain. And it's showing that Cain is not the seed or seed of God, one that's going to listen to what God said. He's going to listen to what Satan has said, because he goes on in the 8th verse to do what he do, and that's very important because I'm getting ready to get to that. But before I get that, I can show it in that 3 times, but I want to let you know I made a mistake. The middle is not 5. It's 4 with the words, but you get 5 when you take and you're doing the process of the numbers leading up to that. And anybody that has been following me know that I show how you can go from the end to the middle, or you can go backwards from the middle. But they get that finality of what's really being said, that it's always going to lead back to the middle. The middle going to always speak. Okay. Now, if you go to the 664th verse in the Bible, it's Genesis. I'm going to do that for a minute, then I'm going to get off of that because I don't want to get too far away, but I want to show how this links up with Charlie Kirk and what's going on right now. Okay, I ain't gonna be able to count it from here. Okay, 644th verse is the 52 verse. Okay, 45, 46. Okay, 246, and that's what that is, 646. And they did eat and drink, and Genesis chapter 24, verse 54. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away unto my master. Now, to understand what's taking and going on here, it's the thing of family and God bringing us back into his bosom. Here it is, you have Abraham's servant going to get a bride for his son Isaac. Let's go back up one verse to the 645th verse, which says, And the servant brought forth jewels and silver and jewels of gold and remnants and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. That's the 645th verse. You get the number 646 in there. You're seeing the opposite of what's happening in Genesis 4 and 6. Okay? You also get the number 665 when you get to Rebekah and Isaac coming together to give birth to go into a family. Lord, can't make no mistakes on this. Please. I'm asking you for your help. So help me to slow down. Help me to slow down. We need to get this, okay? You get the number 665, okay? Right here, you get the number 656, which leads you back to Ezekiel, okay? I'm doing this off of memories, and I'm taking my time and doing it slow. Showing y'all how all these links in and how family is important to God and how God, the numbers and the words and all this linked. Okay, I'm going to get to verse 8 before I get up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this part. I'm going to go to verse 8. Something tell me to go to verse 8. Okay. So here it is. Here it is right here. You got, I'm going to show you 6 verse in Genesis chapter 25, verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubine which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son while he yet lived, eastward unto the east country. Okay, that's 6 verse, 25th chapter of Genesis. Come down to the 23rd verse. Watch this. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy wombs, and 2 manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. 23 breaks down to 5. That's 6, 5. Okay? Now, 24th verse, watch this. And when her days to deliver were fulfilled, behold, there was twins in her womb. That's the 24th verse. Giving birth. This was another thing that God was getting ready to start on the earth through a family that he called forth to commune with him and to bring righteousness back into the world. 23 breaks down to 5. 24 breaks down to 6. You get the number 656 is the same number that's shown in another way. The 5 is in the middle. Grace, mercy, peace, favor, all that's in the middle. All that's in the middle. But you can also back up and you can take and go to verse 21 of this, and you can read in it right here, and it said, And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, said in 24 words. So if you go 6 verse, 24 words, breaks down to 6, and you go to 23, that's 5. That's 665. Anyway, all this comes right back to the same thing. Family. What happened when Eve conceived again? she gave birth, and the new thing came. Well, not new thing, but the thing that always was meant to be come right back into where she gave birth, and Seth and his sons began to call out to God. Same thing happened here. If we pay attention to the story, you know, Jacob was serving the Lord. So was his son Joseph. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's all tying in. It's all going back to what God had me doing over the years. Now let's I showed y'all the 665 and the 656. I showed y'all the 646. I can show y'all the 664. I can show you how all this is the opposite of this, where you have one group listening and the other group not listening. But those who listen will receive the promise. It's about the promise. It's about what God spoke in Genesis 3 and 15. We're seeing it play out. I showed y'all the 111, how it go right back to Genesis 3 and 15. I showed y'all the 666 goes right back to Genesis 3 and 15. What did Genesis 3 and 15 say? And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. He shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. The battle. We're talking about Satan and Satan's seed. He mentioned two different seeds. Watch this. And between thy seed and her seed, Cain was a seed of Satan. And I'm going to show that too. I'm going to show that too. I'm going to show how all that is coming right back to this. Okay? It's coming right back to this that I'm trying to point. I'm going to show you how important Mother Moore life and death was, because she was born and God kept her for 105 years so that her death would give us this warning that we need. She kept for 105 years exactly. When you find her birth 4/15/1920, it's talking about the mark. First time mark show of God putting the mark on Cain. Next time we get a real big warning about the mark, it's talking about the mark of the beast. Her birth spoke to both. Connection, warning, connection. Now, let me go to verse 8. And I'm sorry for making that mistake, okay? I'm trying my hardest not to make it, okay? I'm trying to do this in the right way. Now, let's go to verse 8. Come down to verse 8. Yeah, and I'm going to show the year either later on tonight or either Tuesday. I think I'm going to sit down and just write everything down instead of trying to come off the top of my head. Okay. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Now, this is said in 2, 4, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It said in 7 words. Now, in the 7 words is 31 letters. We need to pay attention to this, y'all. Sign. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. Two important things here. Remember, I told you after the 21 is always the thing that come after. When you get to Abel, it's the 21st letter, 21 letters. When you get to Abel as being Cain's brother, it's 31. Remember, after 21 is always what come after. Now here you get the 31 letters. Now, Charlie Kirk was 31 years old when this happened. Here it is, Cain, right here in the same verse when it goes on from brother, and it says right here, and it came to pass, okay, when they was in the field, okay, you get 22 letters there too. Now you know that's pointing back to Cain. That Cain rose up against Abel. Okay, you get 21 there against, and then after that you get Abel. And then right there when you're at Abel, you get 25. What year was Charlie Kirk killed? In 2025. His brother, okay? His brother. You get 35 letters and you break that down as 8. This is the beginning, okay? Okay, when murder was led into the earthly realm in this way, okay? And slew him. What day did it happen on the 10th? Here, You get the age, you get the year, you get the date, you get all of that if you just pay attention. A sign. I can't do that. Only God can. Now, I had already had all the numbers and the letters and stuff. I just got a guy back to it, let me know that, hey, you did all this, but you getting ready to overlook this and not do this, because I would have. Because I was so focused on another verse pointing this out. I'm getting ready to show it to y'all again. Okay? But not now. It's going to be in the last one that I do. And I'm bringing back 8. But here it is. We got when you get to brother 31. Charlie Kirk was 31. When we take and we get to Abel being mentioned again is the 25th letter. When you get to him being slew is the 10th. So here it is. We got the year 25 Abel. We got slew him. That's 10. We got brother 31. That's still speaking about Abel. And then we got when they was in the field, got 22, which referred Cain. But not only that, in that you get the month. You get the month in it. In the middle, you get the month and the day, actually. Because 3 and 6 is 9. So that right there is the month. Okay? And then when you do 6 and 22 and you break that down, you get 28, you get 10. 10 in the middle. So you got the 10 actually showing this over and over. But another important thing about this, you got the 21 pointing to. Is always what come after that. So anyway, let me get back to this one part. He was 31 years old. It got right here. And Cain talked with his brother. When you get the brother, that's 31. When you get mention Abel's name, that's 21. What comes after 21? I've been talking about this for years. Okay? But you got the 31 when he's talking about his brother. You got the 25 when Abel's name is mentioned down here, that Cain rose up against Abel. When you get to that, that's the 25th letter. Okay? When you get, and he slew him, you got 10. So you got, if you just paying attention and you want to hear, you're going to have 9/10, 2025, brother 31, the age. You got the age right there. Also, when he mentioned Abel, down here in the second part, it's 25th letter. The year was the 25th. He was 31 years old, brother. Mentioned about Abel. Okay, so right there in that, you got that. But you also got the year in here, okay? You if you take your time, you got the year that we getting ready to enter into, 5786 or 86. If you pay attention to the 2 main verses and you go backward, verse 6 is when God started talking to him, okay? When God started talking to Cain, and verse 8 is when Cain do what he do. What years we getting ready to come in? 5786. I already showed you the 5 in the middle. Okay? I already showed you the 5 in the middle. And if you just take your time and you look at it and you come from the middle out, you'll get to the year 5786. Here we go. In the middle, 6th verse. I showed y'all the 5. You got the 3 ones with the 2. That's 5. In the middle. Okay? You're coming out. 16 words breaks down to 7. So that's 5 and the 7. You got the 5 and the 7. Now you need the 8. Where do the 8 come from? The 8 comes from the 6, 6, 5. That's where the 8 comes, because 6, 6, 5 makes 17. 17 makes 8. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 5 is what? 17. 17 breaks down to what? 8. So you got the 5, 7, 8, and then the verse is 6. Then if you pay attention, here it is. You got all those numbers in a verse from where this, in the 4 verses from where all this started. I didn't go right here. But unto Cain and his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance failed. That's verse 5. This one, where it started in verse 4, but when the thing started with Cain, it's mentioned in verse 5. It talked about it again in verse 6. Talked about it again in verse 7. Talked about it again in verse 8, then when he committed murder. You taking those 4 numbers, you get that same year. Just scramble. But if you take and understand what's being said, here it is. What is God saying about what's to come? So we have to pay attention to this whole chapter, all the way to the end, and what comes at the end to understand what he's saying. And we already seeing signs of it, where people are starting to celebrate a God, calling on God and all this, but we also have to be careful too, because he didn't warn me about a false revival and all that. But he told me that he's getting ready to take and move in a powerful way, and we're seeing it. So we got to keep it real too. You know why this is going on? Because we know the devil is trying to infiltrate and do things. And again, I said, please forgive me for getting super excited when I took and I did that with Mother Moore at the end. You know, I just kind of went crazy, but you know, this been going on with a while for me, trying to express and show people that, hey, his word is alive and it talks in a whole lot of ways. You know, and it talks to us in a powerful way, in ways that we might can understand it differently if we just willing to listen. So I got caught up in that. And I'm sorry for making a mistake on the 665 with the middle being 4 words and not 5 words, but you see the 5 still shows there. The 5 is still there. And I'm not doing nothing that I haven't did before. You go back and watch any of the videos. And before I end this, because I've been on here long enough, I didn't want to be on it long. I want to say this. In the video after they was pulling out of Afghanistan, I talked about it even before they was pulling out, about 10 or 12 days before they was pulling out of guys out of Afghanistan. I was giving a warning that was a big mistake. Then I gave the warning even more after those 11 or either 13 soldiers was killed. I forgot exactly how many. I should have looked that up before I got in, but the number 11 and 13 showed up in those videos. You flip 31 around, that's 13. 11 keeps showing in this over and over and over and over and over and over again. You know, I haven't really hit it in the way that I was supposed to, but I just want to bring this up right here. It's 65 letters in that 6th verse in chapter 4. 65 letters. 65 breaks down to 11. That's the middle number. Verse 65 in the Bible is Genesis 3 and 9. Here it is, Genesis 3 and 9, 65th verse. And the Lord called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou? The Lord calling out to us. Here it is right here in the 6th verse. The Lord is trying to call out to Cain to talk to him. No coincidence, y'all. None. Now I can go somewhere else with this, with the numbers and numbers that been coming out and show y'all different things, you know. It's just like, I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna end. I know people, here go this worldly stuff. Okay. You come to save sinners. You know, you already gave me that one. I wish I can reach the other people in the church so they can understand. The 141 verse in the Bible is Genesis 63. Look what Genesis 6 and 3 say. Look what Genesis 6 and 3 say. Genesis 6 and 3 say, And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with me, for they also is flesh. Yet their days shall be 120 years. Now here it is, God talking about his spirit. Here it is, he's warning. He's warning us in this too. Don't push me away. I want to be present with you. How can I say that? If you go down to verse 8, he found that Noah was and that's 6 and 8 again. They go to say he found that Noah was worthy, and that's what he's doing. He looking for us in there that's gonna have our heart open, so we can touch us with his Holy Spirit and guide us despite of what's going on right now. That's the 141 verse. That number 141 that came out twice in the 4 digits since I gave this message. One time it came out with an 8, and one time it came out with a 0. That might go over a lot of people's head. One time it came out with an 8, beginning. Beginning of what? Because the 141 verse, God's spirit is grieved, but in the 8th verse, he's reaching out to somebody that's reaching out to him. 0 means time running out, or time that ran out for something. So we must understand how the numbers and the words are talking and speaking together. And it will do it, y'all. It will holler if we're willing to listen. Like I said, I apologize for making that mistake on there. But everything else in that video right there, in that second video, is correct. Except for that. If you take and do it on yourself, you will find it. And he's speaking. He's telling the people in the church, I see you. I know what's going on. This continue to go on with my sheep being misled and fed in the wrong way. I'm getting ready to deal with that. And he is. We getting ready to see a lot of people that we've been looking up to and following. They finna get it. They finna get it because he planned on taking and doing some things, but he not finna just boom all at once. But you finna start seeing things happen. That's why all these churches that only got 10 or 12 members, but if you've been sticking and standing on where people gonna start gravitating towards each other. I gave that word years ago. They're gonna start coming to the places where the people are standing on God's word for real, for real. They're gonna be looking for that. They're going to be looking for those old songs that were sung with love and power. They're going to be looking for that. I know I'm looking for it. Because some of these songs right now I've been saying ain't nothing in them, man. Nothing in them. Unless you listen to them brothers and sisters praise and saying to the Lord over in Nigeria. I'm not saying that all of them because I listened to Jordan Welch. I believe that's how I can pronounce her name. You can feel desire for God when she sang. And another a victory board. You can hear the desire, but a lot. And William McDowell. Oh, my boy, William McDowell. Hey. Always feel it in him. Real. Anyway, I'm going to get over here. And I'm not dragging this out. I'm just trying to do it where I'm taking and covering it in the right way. At most 2 more times. And then, just got to let God do his thing. There's a lot more to it. I can actually take from all this being revealed to me, and I'm going to take and go from here and go and work my way all the way up to Genesis chapter 25 and then come back. I already did it, but showing how this right now is the time. It's the time. I showed you the year 5786 right there. I just showed y'all in Ezekiel chapter 8, the year 5785, and if I didn't, let me take and do it. I believe I mentioned that in the last video, so let me take and do it. Remember, let me take and do Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 17. Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 17. Then I'm going to end with that. I'm going to end with this. I see we in right now, 5785. Then he said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is this a light thing unto the house of Judah, that they commit the abomination which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence, and have returned to provoke me to anger, and lo, they put the branch to their nose. Said in 57 letters. Just said in 57 letters. Okay. I believe we have 8 parts here, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm count 9. Let me make sure because my eyes playing tricks on me. Come on, Lord, help me. Where the other glasses at? Oh my God, come on, please, Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more time. Make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 parts. So what's the middle of 9? The middle of 9 is 5. That's the middle of 9. Middle of 9 is 5. Okay. So we got, make sure, no, because 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, the middle of 9 is 5. That's what's in the middle of that. It's 5. So here it is. We got the number 5785. Here we go. 57 words. Okay. 17 verse breaks down to 8. Middle is 5. 5785. You also got the year 5788 in here. But it's the way that it has to be done. It's like it's hidden. That's 3 years away from that. And I'm going to do this in the next video. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to do it right. But I just showed y'all the year 5785. A lot of people going to say no. If you go back, and I'm going to go back to Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 1, and I'm going to show y'all 5785 again in that verse. Okay? I'm going to show you how it's speaking and it's showing us and speaking about the time that we in now with the dates on them. And then I'm going to go back again and I'm going to show these years and these dates that we in right now, right here in the chapter that we in. Okay. Anyway, I love y'all and I hope y'all accept my apology. I ain't trying to mislead no one. I'm just trying to let y'all know that he's speaking, he's calling out to us. Don't be like Adam and Eve when they was in the garden, heard him calling and running. Don't be like that. Don't be like Cain that had that direct communication with him and you still thumping your nose gonna do your thing. Don't be like that. Listen to what he's saying so you can be like Noah and be a part of that 8 that's being saved. Or that 800 million. Or that 5 billion. So let me not put no, because he can say 8 billion and leave what, 2 or 3 left. So it's about what, population about 8 billion. So we at the 8, in the number 8 right now. And I'm gonna go on in. It's been long enough, but you know, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to drag this on. I'm just trying to show y'all how what I was doing back then has come back again, and if President Trump and them don't start listening, they're going to mess up. They're going to lose some seats in the Senate where they're going to lose the majority. This thing with free speech, leave it alone. It's going to be a dagger in y'all side. Gave y'all the warning about Afghanistan that was given to me. I gave you the warning about things wasn't going to go the way that you thought with Putin, you know, and we seeing that play out. God revealed to me that 9/23 wasn't going to be the rapture. We're going to see if that's true too. But I'm telling you what I'm feeling in my spirit in a strong, strong way, President Trump. And I hope somebody give him this message. That free speech thing, if y'all come against that, you're going to find yourself in trouble in this next election. And a whole lot of, leave it alone, please. There's a lot of things that you doing that he giving you victory in. Don't come against the free speech. Leave that be. So he can continue to use you to do the things that need to be done. If you mess with it, y'all gonna lose the Senate. Anyway, have a blessed day, and I don't want to say this, but y'all men and women of God that love him and surround him, y'all pray for his sons. You know, You keep on coming, then the enemy is up to something. I don't know what it is. I'm struggling and I'm fighting, but keep on somebody's sons. So y'all men and women of God that love him in Israel, pray for his sons. I love y'all. Have a blessed day.